What's up, guys? DarkCrush17 here, doing this week's chapter review of One Piece, chapter 728, titled "The Number of Tragedies." We start off this week's chapter with a small opening of with a small, like, obviously the cover page. Oda always has those cover page with a small story about Caribou and so on and so forth. And in this one, it's Caribou's New World, volume 43, the grandchild that couldn't even put a scratch on the powerful foe. In other words, X-Drake. He couldn't even put a scratch on X-Drake, and he's a Logia. And it says that he should at least get to enjoy his final meat pie. Does this mean that Caribou is going to get executed? Does this mean, I have a I hope that, I have a feeling, I have a hunch that X-Drake is working with or for Kaido, and that if this is the case, Caribou is most likely going to be executed in front of Kaido. I know this might not possibly be true, but I really hope it is. Why? So we get to see what fucking Kaido actually looks like. He's the only warlord, emperor, that we do not know his... We have an idea, we've seen his silhouette, but we don't know exactly what this guy looks like, unlike Big Mom. Big Mom we know, Blackbeard we know, Shanks we know. Kaido is the only one we don't know. And I'm sure there's a really good reason why Oda's hiding him from us, but other than that, nobody, I really would love to know what Kaido looks like, and if this could be a good excuse to show us what Kaido looks like, then that would be fantastic. Alright, so the chapter starts off, and it's still in the flashback now, and we see what seems to be a girl named Viola, I think? Anyway, whatever. And she's talking to Monet, and she says, Snow, what are you doing and shit? And, why are you serving, why are you opening the palace doors? And Monet is there, and, she's like, if you take a look with your ability, she goes, you can see that I currently am welcoming the new royal family. And then we see, it cuts to a picture of basically the fucking Baby Five, and Buffalo, and the fucking old lady, and this fucking old man, and these two kids, and this big old man, and then after that, this young small old man, this big fat baby looking guy that says "Let's Baby" on his shirt. And anyway, this guy looks like these guys look like Don Flamingo's crew in a sense. So what was gonna happen, essentially? And then we cut to Don Flamingo, a beautiful, beautiful panel of Don Flamingo doing something like this. Or like this, to control King Riku, and we see that he's actually, there's the strings and everything, and that was really, really well done. And we see the continuation of the massacre that King Riku is doing, and even though King Riku is saying no, take my life as opposed to killing these people, and why, and everyone's like, why, King Riku, why? Now what I don't understand is, how stupid can you possibly be? You can tell that this old man is crying, and that he's doing it against his will. I mean, granted, it is kind of weird that he's suddenly killing everyone, but at the same time, I think the people are kind of dumb, because they're kind of not really thinking that their king was such a great king. And I'm kind of disappointed, which I forgot to mention in the last chapter, that King Riku was tossed aside so easily. He was such a loved captain, loved king, and everybody loved him, and everybody respected him. And all of a sudden, with one small thing, I mean, granted, he was killing everyone in his village, but you can tell that it was against his will. It's not like Don Flamingo could stop him from crying. You know what I mean? Anyway, and basically the rest of the next few pages is a chapter of what all the citizens are crying, and that they're cussing, and they're saying you're nothing but human filth. And then we cut to the soldiers like coming to save him. But instead, what happens is Don Flamingo comes in and he says, "I am Don Quixote, Don Flamingo, and we're here to save this country." And this is when we finally get to see the faces of those three other guys. Now, we know Don Flamingo is Heart. We see Spade, which is this big ass muscular guy with fucking pecs and shoulders the size of freaking Timbuktu. Then we see this Clover guy, which looks like a mysterious hippie looking guy. And he has a weird clover looking sword. And then we see Diamante or Diamond on the far right. And this guy looks sort of like, you remember, I don't even remember the fuck his name was, but you guys remember Captain Kubo, the cat guy? Remember his assistant with the pendant that used hypnosis? I forget his name now. He went to the, now he's with the world government. Well, he looks kind of like him, but with like a flower kind of shape over here. And he goes that, oh, they defeated the Riku army, and then he mentions their names. Diamante, which means diamond in Spanish or Italian. Pica, which I'm guessing is the guy in the middle because he kind of in a certain order, but it could be the opposite order. Anyway, I don't know. Pica and Treble. Now, treble, I believe, is another word for clover, but I'm not 100% sure. Because pica means point, right? Pica means point, right? Pica can technically mean point, in a sense. And treble could mean like a leaf of some sort or whatever. And this is when they come in and the obviously Doflamingo saves the village and takes the king out and kills some people. And this is when the flashback ends and Soldier Son is still talking and Frankie is crying, and I thought that was pretty funny because it's a little bit of comic relief. And then Robin and Usopp mention about how tragic this was, and obviously it is obviously tragic that this happened, but at the same time it's predictable because he is a titan. I mean, he is a pirate, Doflamingo. What do you expect from pirates? And then we cut to the dwarves, and the dwarf king is saying, he's talking about, like, at the time we even believed that King Riku was a traitor, but I am truly sorry to have doubted him. Now, why would they have doubted him? Like, why would anybody have doubted him? I mean, I understand, but like at the same time, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they just they gave up on him too quickly. I mean, granted, there was a lot of despair and so on and so forth, but whatever. Then Usopp mentions that, okay, so I'm guessing this guy is dead, right? And then Soldier Son says, incorrect, this guy still lives. Don Flamingo was in awe of Viola's power, which she at the time was the princess. Viola, remember the girl at the beginning of the chapter, which was talking to Monet? In exchange for that power, that girl, Viola, was the princess, in other words, King Riku's daughter. And in exchange, he made it for the following demand. He says, if you promise you won't kill me, won't kill my father, I'll do whatever you say. So in other words, she exchanged her services to Don Flamingo and changed her name from Viola to Violet. And who's Violet? Violet is the fucking girl who can freaking, like, predict the future or whatever, mind read, or can tell if you're lying and so on and so forth. I forget exactly what her ability, her fruit is. And that is why she works for Don Flamingo as his executive staff. And that explains why Violet or Viola, whatever the frick you want to call it, hates Don Flamingo and wants him to die and betrays him, essentially. And after that, we cut to obviously Viola running away. We see that on her horse, and in the same area, I would say, Soldier Son is explaining that there were some soldiers that sided with Don Flamingo in order to spare their lives, and at the same time, it's not that they went willingly, but they were all orders from King Riku in order to save their lives, because obviously King Riku was a merciful king and he loved his people. He didn't want his people to suffer, even if it meant, like, siding with the person that caused the country to fall at his behalf. Frankie is still crying, and I found this was pretty funny that he's being like such a drama queen. It was pretty good, little comic relief. And then Soldier Son mentioned something really, really interesting about the toys. That when you get turned into a toy, you lose your memory in certain cases. He says, I too should have lost memories. Those who have been made into toys, supposedly, we do remember everything from when we were humans, but he says everyone around us, even our family, in other words, anyone that we knew in our life, forgets about us completely. In other words, as soon as you get turned into a toy, nobody fucking remembers who you are. Now, is that because it's like kind of a mind control? Doubt it. I have a feeling it's because even though the person is right there, they believe that the person is dead. That's how I see it. So if the person you see disappear, but like at the same time, the way Soldier Son explained it, it made it sound like toys kind of became forgotten by some kind of hypnosis, or like their mind got erased or something. Because it doesn't really make sense that they can just completely forget about this person. You know what I mean? Like Soldier Son, he realizes that what's her name? What's the girl's name? Oh yeah, Rebecca. um, doesn't remember who she is. Has he ever tried to tell her that he's the father? I'm pretty sure he has, but she just hasn't realized it. Or did he not risk telling her in order to get her to run away from him? Because oh, you're such a crazy person. My father died a long time ago. Who's my father? I don't know my father. Did he want to risk this and not being able to be friends or have a relationship with Rebecca? We don't really know this, right? This will be explained later on. But then towards the end, Soldier Son mentions that the surprise or secret rebellion that he's planning, or that they're planning, is going to be born from, which is the title, the number of tragedies born from Don Flamingo, which in turn he means the number of humans that were transformed into toys will be what they exploit for their so-called strategy. That is the key. Now, this was a little bit confusing for me. This chance that he means, I don't understand. Are all the toys gonna rebel? Okay, that's fine, but aren't toys kind of useless? They don't have really much fighting power. Do they retain their fighting power from when they were human? Remember, Soldier Son also mentions that some of these toys forget who they were completely prior to being human. And then, the freaking little dwarf army gives a little speech for Usoland, and they believe that he's going to lead them to victory. And what happens after that is pretty interesting. Soldier Son says that Don Flamingo temporarily quit as king, and that is actually a miracle. Now, why is it a miracle? Because I was a little bit confused at this point. I didn't understand what he means, that it was nothing short of a miracle. Okay, fine. And that finding out that it was a mistake was like snatching us from heaven and hurling us deep into the depths of hell. In that despair, we chose to, once and for all, put an end to it today. It's only natural, would you say? I didn't really understand the context of this. If any of you can clarify what he means by this, it would be great. I tried to get some ideas from some people, but whatever. Then we cut back to King Riku being under the Colosseum, and he's having a discussion with Dong Qingzhao. And he's saying, oh, even you came here all the way here to fight, and so on and so forth. And then we cut back upstairs to fighters in the gladiator tournament who are now toys, and one of them is like, where am I going? Help me, Gramps, and so on and so forth. And by Gramps, I'm guessing he's saying Don Qingzhao. And what have they done to me? The lone wolf Abdullah, where am I going? I'm turned into a teddy bear now. And the other one is like, what of me? What happened to, I was a prideful warrior, and now I'm just a machine. So we can see that now the development of toys is increasing, and that these gladiator soldiers in that these former participants in the tournament are getting turned to toys more and faster. With that was the end of the chapter. After, well, actually, right after that, we cut to the Colosseum gates, and Zoro, Kinemon, and Luffy meet up, and they ask, "How did you get here?" And they Luffy asks, "How did you get here?" And they say, "Roosterhead gave me directions." Roosterhead being Bartolomeo, right? Roosterhead. I was like, I get it. I see what you did there. Roosterhead. That's good. That's good. So, where is he? He's like, he started foaming from the mouth on the way here. That was pretty funny because, like, obviously, foaming from the mouth because he was freaking excited and like, to be freaking helping Luffy out, right? But then we see a shadow looming over, in the distance, over Luffy and the gang. And he says, and then we see like half his face, and we see, "I finally found you," and it's Bellamy. By the look on his face, he looked kind of like he had a murderous intent. But is he really gonna go to Luffy with a murderous intent, or is he gonna ask him for help or something? Who knows? Bellamy for Nakama. No, I'm just kidding. God, no. If Bellamy is Nakama, fuck that. Fuck that. No more. I can't. No. Anyways, so that's about it for this chapter and this review. Like I said, pretty good chapter, pretty good review. Not much really to discuss. My God, it's already dark and it's like 3:45. Look how dark it got. Fudge. Anyways, 3:45. So, that's about it for this week's chapter of One Piece. Pretty good chapter, like I said. I'm going to review it. I'm going to give it, let's see, I would say 9 on 10 because it was pretty informative, and it gave a lot of theories, and it answered some questions, especially about Violet. And that was good. Well, Oda always delivers. And Oda never, ever wastes a character. Ever. Excuse me. Every single character that he mentions has some potential in most cases. I mean, like, if you look at it, Bellamy's still here. He shows up. Okay, fine. Bellamy's crew member did not. But for all we know, that crew member is dead. He didn't survive the onslaught that Don Flamingo pitted them against, right? And anyway, I believe that Oda does not waste a character. So I love how he explains everything all in due time, guys. Now I'm curious as to what's happening to Law and Luffy and the gang over there. And at the same time, I really would like to know what is going on with Rebecca now. And what I really want to see next, the fight. Don Flamingo versus Law. I don't really care about this stuff. This stuff is good to know, but again, I feel like the fight for Don Flamingo and Law is a little bit more important than anything else. Is it because is the reason that he is delaying the fight because he wants Luffy to get to the fight to help Law? Who knows? Technically, he is the main character, so he should be the one to take out the head of the Doflamingo Pirates, right? Anyway, who knows? Anyway, guys, that's it for this week's chapter of One Piece. It was a very good chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Please leave a like. I really would appreciate it. And that's with that. I wish you guys a very good rest of the week, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Ciao.